somewhere like, well, if you like, nearby Dallas, though it's teeming with Bible schools and what have you got. But going to a city like Finney did and say, I'm not moving out of this city until there are two moves, until God moves and the devil gets out of the place. We don't have anybody like that. We're fly by night. We want our big love offerings. We want glamour. Paul never glamorized the gospel. It's a pretty gory gospel. It's a bloody gospel. It's a sacrificial gospel. I believe the cardinal ethic of Christianity is sacrifice. Not success, sacrifice. 5 minutes inside eternity, I believe every one of us will have wished that we'd sacrificed more, prayed more, loved more, sweated more, grieved more, wept more. You notice, will you, that after the Acts of the Apostles, I'm going to finish quickly, after the Acts of the Apostles, the whole balance of the New Testament is to the church, it's not to sinners. Paul writes to the church at Thessalonica and says, I'm praying night and day. No. He says, I'm praying exceedingly. He's praying the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man for the church. Yes, for the church. Not that they'll get out of poverty. Not that they'll get out of slavery. He's praying what? He says, I'm praying night and day. What? He's praying for their faith. Praying night and day exceedingly that your faith may be strengthened. He starts the second epistle, the first chapter, verse 3, and says, I rejoice, what? That your faith groweth exceedingly. His prayer had been answered. They hadn't all just become millionaires or famous personalities. They hadn't all become evangelists and teachers and prophets. Those things are there, and I would to God they were more manifest than they are in these days. I'd like to see the force at Agape here. I'd like to see the force around the corner there, the YWAM, and over at Joe's and other places. I'd like to see a place where we know there's a man. He's the prophet, and he's the evangelist, and he's the teacher. Every man standing in his own place. The trouble is now the preacher wants to be everything in the average church. He wants to be teacher, preacher, prophet, and everything else. He ought to be glad he's one spoke in the wheel. That these ministries were not given to boys and girls spiritually immature. It must have been a great thing to follow Jesus for 3 years. It must have been a great thing to be a Timothy. For all what love Paul showed on Timothy, he kind of says, this is my spiritual heir, he's coming after me. And see how much, read his epistles if you want to know about preaching and teach. Read his epistles, the first and second of Paul to Timothy. The heir, as long as he liveth, as long as he's a child, he's no different from a servant. But let him come to the age of maturity.